Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are plunging into, well, a true American literary cornerstone, F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby.
A big one.
Definitely. We've got a fantastic stack of articles and research here, and they offer a really compelling look into the novel's core themes.
Especially how it unpacks society and dreams, that elusive nature of dreams.
Exactly. So our mission, really, for this deep dive is to pull out the most insightful nuggets from all this material.
Right.
We want to understand what Gatsby tells us about its own era, the Roaring '20s.
Which was quite something.
Oh, yeah. But also, maybe more importantly, what it reveals about these universal human experiences. Things that honestly feel even more relevant today.
You know, what's really striking isn't just that this story feels timeless, but how precisely it dissects a certain kind of American idea.
Which idea is that?
This belief that wealth and, getting people to admire you can fundamentally change who you are, that it can buy happiness.
Ah, okay. So it's a critique of self-invention.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when that reinvention is all about chasing something external, something idealized instead of maybe an internal truth.
That makes sense.
And that's why I think it just keeps grabbing readers, even now, almost a century later.
That's a perfect way to jump into our first big theme then. The illusions, and then the disillusionment wrapped up in the American dream within this book. Fitzgerald's critique is just so sharp. He paints this picture of an era where the dream looked completely attainable.
Right there for the taking.
Yeah, but also dangerously hollow.
Yeah.
Right at its core.
And Jay Gatsby, well, he is that idea, isn't he? He's the embodiment.
Totally.
Our research really digs into how he just meticulously reinvents himself, from this poor farm.
James Gat's original.
Exactly, into Jay Gatsby, the glamorous millionaire. And this whole massive effort, this transformation, it's driven by just one thing.
One goal.
One singular, obsessive goal.
Yeah.
Winning back Daisy Buchanan.
Right.
She becomes everything he thinks he wants. She's like the ultimate prize, the glittering symbol of this whole American dream fantasy he's built up in his head.
Okay, so if Gatsby is the dream, where does it start to fall apart? What is it about his pursuit that shows us this illusion, and then the crash, the disillusionment?
Well, that unraveling, that's where the novel gets its incredible power.
Yeah.
What our sources really make clear is that the tragedy isn't just, that he fails. It's that the object of his dream, Daisy, she's not worthy of it.
Oof, not worthy.
No. The book paints her as careless and shallow and, honestly, incapable of living up to this huge fantasy he's constructed around her.
She's just a person, a flawed person.
Exactly, and this is where that famous symbol comes in, right?
Yeah.
The green light.
The green light at the end of her dock. Such a potent image. What does that really stand for here in terms of his dream falling apart?
Well, it's sort of two things at once. It's this powerful beacon of hope.
Something to reach for.
Right. But at the same time, it represents unreachable dreams.
Yeah.
Everything Gatsby does, all that intense effort to rewind time and recreate the past with Daisy, it just ends. Not with some big dramatic fight, but almost with a shrug and indifference.
Yeah.
And that quiet ending, it tells us so much. It suggests the whole glittering jazz age itself was maybe built on similarly fragile illusions, things that couldn't last.
So the takeaway for us, for anyone listening, it's maybe not just about the sadness of chasing something impossible.
No, it's more nuanced.
It's about how easily we can project all our hopes onto something or someone that just can't hold that weight. And the collision, when the dream hits reality, it's devastating. It can leave you feeling completely alone.
Absolutely. It's a profound kind of heartbreak.
Okay, so moving beyond Gatsby's own personal story, the novel also really casts this critical eye on the whole wealthy society of the time, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It shows this, deep moral emptiness hiding under all the parties and the money.
Yes, and you see that so clearly in characters like Tom and Daisy Buchanan. They are just the perfect examples of that privileged class.
The old money.
Exactly. And what comes up again and again in the analysis is their carelessness, their profound carelessness.
Right.
They basically destroy lives, wreck things, and then retreat back into their money.
And they remain completely untouched, like nothing happened.
Precisely. They live in this kind of bubble of privilege. It protects them from any real consequences of their own selfishness.
It's like Fitzgerald is just pulling back the curtain on the Roaring '20s, isn't he? Showing us that behind the prosperity and the amazing parties,
There's a dark side.
yeah, the dark side of wealth, the emptiness behind the glitter.
Exactly. And Fitzgerald is, well, He's a master at using symbolic imagery to really drive this point home.
Like what?
Well, take the Valley of Ashes.
Yeah.
It's literally described as this desolate wasteland.
Between West Egg and the city.
Right. A physical symbol of the moral decay, the rot that's festering beneath the surface of all that wealth.
And the eyes. The Eckelberg eyes.
Ah, yes. The giant looming eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg on that billboard, overlooking everything.
Creepy.
Very. Our sources often interpret them as almost like the eyes of God, or maybe the absence of God, just watching this careless society basically lose its soul.
Wow. Like judgment, but maybe a silent, indifferent judgment.
Or perhaps it raises the question of whether anyone is watching, whether there are any moral stakes left.
And then Gatsby himself. The irony is just crushing, isn't it?
It really is.
Because, okay, his money might be from shady sources, we know that.
Bootlegging, probably.
But he chases his dream with this strange kind of purity, this intense focus.
Almost innocent in its intensity.
Yeah. Yet, in the end, he's destroyed. Not by his own illegal activities, really, but by the very society he's trying so desperately to join.
That careless, morally bankrupt world.
He's the outsider trying to buy his way in, and they just swat him away, casually discard him when things get messy.
It's brutal. He's ultimately consumed by the very thing he admires.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, The Great Gatsby really stands out as this haunting portrait.
Unforgettable.
Yeah, a world where dreams and reality just smash together, and the results are devastating. It exposes the illusion of the American dream, how seductive it is.
But how destructive it can be.
And it shows that moral decay often hiding just beneath the surface of all that wealth and glamour.
And that kind of leads us to a final thought, maybe a question for you, the listener.
Okay.
If the Jazz Age, with all its glitter, hid such emptiness, what might be the modern versions of those fragile illusions we chase today?
Oh, interesting. Like, what are our green lights now?
Exactly. Or what are the valleys of ashes we might be overlooking in our own lives, in our society's pursuit of success and dreams? Maybe even in the digital worlds we spend so much time in.
That is a powerful question to think about. What are we missing while we chase the glitter?
Something to mull over.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into The Great Gatsby.
A pleasure.
We really encourage you to maybe revisit this classic, perhaps with some of these ideas in mind, and just continue your own exploration of its really timeless theme.